Good morning, good afternoon, welcome everybody. Hope you're doing well and happy Sam Evans with you. This is Take Stock Live. I am your host for the next 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes, maybe an hour. We'll see. But all I do know is it is Thursday. It's May 6th. We are live here on Facebook Live, and this is Take Stock Live. And it's just turned noon here on the East Coast. Wherever you're joining us from in the world, I hope you're having a fantastic day already. Amit and Luis, big shout to you guys. We are taking your comments live. We are taking your feedback live, questions. We've got a lot of fun things happening on the show as well. Full of energy, ready to just get into another session as well. We have just been really making a focus on the show over the last few weeks of getting as many guests as we can. Last week was weird for me. If you tuned into the show last week, and remember, if you didn't tune into the show last week, you can see every recording of previous shows here on Facebook Live, or you can go to the Stockability YouTube channel and see all of the collection and the archives of the previous Take Stock Live shows as well. But if you are a regular viewer of the show, you will know that usually I have a guest. I usually have my co-host, Brian Doomresk, and then sometimes I kick him over to the curb and I bring in other people as well. And today's one of those days where I have a fantastic guest who's going to be joining us in about 5 or 10 minutes, called Phil Jackson out in California, active trader, and somebody who I've been working with for almost a year right now, who is also really focused on fitting trading and investing into his lifestyle. And that is the subject of today's show. Fitting trading and investing around your life. I've been involved in the financial markets for about 18 years now, and I will say it's a common mispractice for most people who get into trading to, let's say, spend every moment of every waking hour of every day looking at charts, and then they become a slave to the charts and to the markets as well. I'm a big believer in getting in, taking your opportunity and being done. And there's a room to have what we call, stuff going on in the background, passive investing and trading, and active. And Phil, ever since I've known him, was very clear on his goals with me about wanting to just kind of focus this around his lifestyle. And I'm a big believer in that too. So people might know, well, what does that mean? What's his average day like? What's his routine? We're going to talk all about that. And more importantly, I think if you've got a real good means to wanting to do something like this and a goal at the end of it, it becomes a whole lot more achievable as well. So we're going to be talking to Phil in just a second. I'm really excited about this. And again, please fire in your questions. I just see Stockability Student of the Month, Bob Pilgrim, in here, just in the house as well as Kirsty McNeil, Dana Joyce, Amit, everybody just coming in and looking at live. Big shout out to you, Bob, life and soul of the company, as I always say as well. What is today's day all about? We've been seeing some really mixed signals across the whole indexes plateau as well as we've been looking at this. So let's go and find out first what the headlines are. We opened up mixed, and I'm going to go over to the charts and do this as well, but we opened up mixed today. We haven't had a mixed day. The Dow closed at record levels yesterday, and then we opened up kind of a little bit in between as well. Minimal action overnight, and then suddenly, man, the markets took off as well. Let's just look at the scores on the doors right now. Currently, Dow Jones trading at 34,301, up 183 points on the day, bolstered by better than expected job data that came out earlier on. Now, the big job data is coming out to our non-farm payrolls, 8:30 Eastern tomorrow. That's the big one. We had that precursor to it all across this week as well. But the ADP non-farm payrolls is tomorrow. Not really a major concern for you stock traders, but you Forex traders trading around the clock, be very careful. That's a great time to tighten up your stops and everything that you do at that point. But that's that great figures. Definitely bolstered the market. It seems like the S&P is lagging a little bit. Still up as well, 13 handles on the day. Dow Jones up 175 points on the day. NASDAQ up 53 points on the day as well. Yet the Russell lagging behind it, down 15 on the day. Still hovering around all the twos, 2222. That seems to be the big number. 2222 is the big number on here. Let's go and actually take a look at those charts together. Rather than me just talk about it, let's go and take a look at the charts. And here you can see my list on here, but let's go and actually look at a visualization of the charts. And here's what I was saying to you about strange mixed feelings. Once again, we've got on here the major support level holding. This is the S&P, by the way, everybody looking at your S&P right now. Just zoom in so you can see that on there. S&P 500. Again, major pressure here since putting in 4211 as an all-time high on the S&P. A little bit lackluster. We've had a lot of chop in this market. But what's going to be the thing that really takes us higher? Because we're struggling on the S&P, as you can see. But then when we slide on over here to the Dow Jones, Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is my personal favorite. Here we go. Look at it. It is the trend. You just can't stop. And a brand new high today. This is a daily chart of 34,347 points, up 0.5% on the day. A decent gain on there. Again, I feel I feel there's a pull towards the value stocks. It seems like that's where everybody is going. Value stocks, value stocks, value stocks. And while a lot of people say, hey, Dow Jones, it's not really the real market because there's a lot of, I'd say old boys club involved in it. Market stocks get elected into it, whereas it's not a true price weighted average like your S&P is. There's something to be said for the stocks in Dow 30 as well. So again, that is paving the way. The strength continues. It's not a market I like to take a bet against right now as well. Let's look at the tech sector right now. NASDAQ, let's go on here and see. Look at the NASDAQ again, man. NASDAQ, I gotta say, you are in the ultimate time now to make a stand. NASDAQ, this is a massive transitional area at 13,400 right now. If you don't take a bounce from where you are, and we can see those buyers stepping into the market with these topping tails at the moment right here. If you don't bounce at that particular point, I see in real trouble. And again, if the NASDAQ, if the Dow Jones can't extend that push and keep breaking new highs, I'm afraid that we're going to see some weakness in this market. And I got to say, NASDAQ, I'm writing you down to around 12,700 on this thing at the moment. We're at a dicey place on here. This NASDAQ needs to get in line. These indexes really do need to get in line with one another as well. Definitely the mighty NASDAQ is lagging, really putting a lot of weight and a lot of heaviness, heavy lead boots, should I say, on all those tech stocks right now as well. A real challenge for that market. Finally, the little brother, the Russell, the Prince, as we like to call it on here. Wow, what a surprise. Notice every week on the show, I feel like all I do is talk about 22.20. Okay, that's all I talk about. 22, 19, 20. All the twos. Once again, we're at the equilibrium point. If you're an active trader, sit on your hands right now. That Russell, man, you're going to get chopped to pieces. Okay, death by 1,000 cuts. Not a market I'm really actively doing anything as well, unless I'm a seasoned pro. My guest is a big fan of the Russell. He's got it nailed down, which is great. Me personally, I don't know, maybe I'm getting a little bit overly cautious. I like my Dow, buying the dips on the Dow, but there's opportunity on there if you know what you're doing. If you're looking for longer term plays on here, not one to be looking for right now as well. That is an equilibrium. That's a trader's dream. That's a kind of trader's dream when you see that. But if you don't know what you're doing, that is that's an investor's nightmare. Real kind of mixed bag that we're seeing on those indexes. But let's all celebrate the Dow right now as well. What else can we see going on the markets at right here as well? Let's go side on over to crude oil. Crude oil dominating once again at $65 a barrel right now. Just kind of flat down 56 cents on the day that we're seeing at the moment on here. Gold, 18,115 points. Again, the battle for 1,800. I can't write off gold, guys. I just can't write it off. When I look at this gold chart, I go over here and see those charts. Here's gold right now, surging ahead. Yes, we are still bullish. Gold, you have got a major, mighty milestone to get through here, and I think you can do it. We break above 1820. We are pushing higher. I see 1850, 1900 on here. Under the surface, it feels that there's still the flight to quality. There's still nervousness surrounding this market. I don't like the way it keeps pushing up. I don't want to fight it, but there are other things underneath the surface that suggest to me that the big professionals here are definitely cautious about the rally that we're seeing on here, as we're still seeing a massive surge back over to gold. And we've been in a nice uptrend now for the last month or so. I see no reason for it to end. This is a test right now. I'd love to see this area broken out. Big transition point, 1800. I'm going to draw a line at it for you guys. 1,800 is the new line in the sand for gold as well. I tell you, I couldn't resist. If this thing pulls back a little bit, I want to be buying and trying to get some of that price action. And again, that's going to obviously transfer over a little bit to what we see in the silver market as well. So that's where we go. They're the major markets, what we're seeing at the moment. Let's go back and let's just look at that Dow. Wow, here we go. Again, I can't get excited. I'm going to say here, be on the side of caution. You don't want to be jumping into markets like that and just literally trading them, buying new highs. Be very careful about what you do as well. But again, let's see. It's a testing point. All these market indexes right now are hanging in the balance, just waiting to see if they're going to actually lift up a little bit higher. Can the Dow bring them all up? I don't know. We will find out. On top of that, we said better than expected jobs report as well. Moderna vaccines are still on the mind, on the lips of everybody out there. It says early data shows COVID vaccine is 96% effective in adolescents, as apparently we're seeing more cases in younger age groups right now of COVID as well. Still on that flight to herd immunity. Fingers crossed we get there. US backs waiving patent protections for COVID vaccines, and the SEC chose to testify on short selling derivatives after GameStop and the Archegos gyrations as well. So again, I don't think we're going to be seeing too many more of that Reddit kind of stuff going on as well. If the SEC has its way about it, these guys like to have their way. Let me tell you that they certainly do like to have their way. The SEC want to keep things, like I said, as a little bit of an old boys club, making sure that they don't obviously let their best laid plans get interfered with as well. But hey, let's not get too political about all of this. It is what it is. Whew, right, so today's show, trading around our lifestyle. Now, me personally, I'm done for the day. I traded this morning. Market didn't follow through like I wanted it to. Took my profit. I'm done. I'm not hitting home runs every day. I like to try and hit the home runs in the longer term trading. And one of the things I learned over the years is this is something that you've got to mediate. This is something that you've got to get control of. This is something that you've got to have a real plan about as well. And too many people go wrong because they try and fit, their world into trading. And it should be fitting trading into your world the other way. And no one knows this better than my guest on the show today as well. Already done on the Dow today, my friend Joseph. Already done on the day. Took a little short, got some money out of that. Done for the day. Turned off as well because I had the radio show to go. And that's exactly what we're talking about, Joe. As you were asking me on there. I like to get in, get out, make my money, or take my losses and move on. And that's exactly how I have to be on this. And my guest who's joining me on the show knows this because I believe that this has been his ideal. This has been his passion since he first started doing that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to welcome Mr. Philip Jackson from California today. Phil, go and unmute yourself and let's do a little sound check and see if you're there because you're looking good, my friend.
Testing. Can you hear me?
There you go.
Hey there.
How are you, man?
It's great.
Dude, it's so good to have you on the show, and a lot of your Stockability, fellow grads, alumni, and students are all really happy to see you on the show as well. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come and join us today, my friend.
It's an honor. Thank you for having me. I'm a big fan of the show, big fan of Stockability.
Well, I've seen you've been like a viewer since we started. You're there, like you and Bob Pellegrin, and I've got to give a big shout out to Dana Joyce as well, because like you guys, you're like my three musketeers. You've been there as I'm trying to. I put my heart and soul into this show, already making friends, already probably making a few enemies and pissing a few people off along the way. But hey, you're making waves when you do that, right? We like to just have it real, but you've been there right from the start. But you've also been there right from the start about a year ago when we started working together as well. And the topic of today's show, I thought, what I like to do is while we're trying to educate people on Take Stock Live, because here's the thing I found, Phil, is there's active traders who watch the show, but there's a lot of people coming in and watching the show who've never traded before, never really invested before, got an interest in it. And we try to just break it down into somewhere easy to understand as well. Now, you came, and when I first met you, you were already pretty active in the market, though. You weren't a beginner. How long were you been like trading and dabbling in them? I don't want to say dabbling because you certainly are not a dabbler. You take this very seriously. But how long had you been when did your journey in trading first start? Tell us about that first.
I would say I started taking trading seriously in 2013.
2013. All right. So we're looking about 8 years now. This is year 8 for you.
Yeah. With OTA, and actually, you say you've been working with me for a year. It's been longer than that because when you were with OTA, the challenge was just finding you because you would teach the times you came on didn't fit my schedule.
All right.
So
they kind of kept me a little bit under lock and key towards the end.
So I just got a lot of teasing from you. It's like, okay, I want to be like this guy, and it's funny because when I first started, you were one of the first instructors. You and actually Coach Ryan was the people I followed, and I says, okay, and this is what I need to learn, and it was just so hard to catch up as far as when you guys were teaching online that I didn't get a consistency of your teaching. So it turned into a struggle because I was just getting nuggets here and there, and I didn't know how to put all the nuggets together. So I was really excited when you spun off and started up Stockability, and they said, okay, now he can't run from me. I got him. I can get a full dose of him. And,
for you. Oh man, I hope my full doses of me haven't kind of worn you down too much. I do like to go off on my rants.
Yeah, like I was telling you the other day, it's like, you really teach people how to become a trader and not just to trade. And that's been my issue for, the past 6 or 7 years, where I knew the strategies, I knew, how to follow trend and how to tell which way the price was going. But for some reason, I just couldn't put it all together on a consistent basis.
It's incredible, isn't it? How you probably heard this as well. It's so simple, but yet so difficult in many ways as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's incredible to be in an environment where really you've got to decide, is it going to go up or down? It's only a 50-50, but it's really not 50-50. And it can get very, very challenging in that as well. And I know you've tried many things. How much would you say, though, a lot of this is really about, and I know I'm like a broken record and I don't apologize, but how much of this is about finding your style, though, and what works for you? Because I think a lot of people feel, and you've had experience by education in different places, I think too many people think they're just, oh, well, I'm just going to copy what that guy or girl does, and that's it. I tried that personally. That didn't work for me. I needed guidance to then create my own blueprint, if that makes sense. What are your thoughts on that scenario? Because I'd love to just copy what somebody else does, right? But it didn't work for me. What about you?
It's everything. I tried it, and what I realized is, even though you can spit out numbers and spit out, say, buy here and sell there, and it still will not work for someone else, because that's, you've customized everything for you. And I don't have your mentality. I don't have your comfort level. My comfort level is different.
Yep.
And everyone has, just like a pulse and a fingerprint. Everyone has a different level of comfort with their trading. And I think that's what you're kind of leaning towards, is finding where you're comfortable at of letting the trade work. And that's what I had to learn, because if you're not, you're just going to jump in and out, and you're going to see, oh, well, I'm up $200. Let me get out here.
Yeah. It feels nice making money, doesn't it? But then...
Yeah. Or the other way, it's like, oh, I'm down $50 and I've been down all week. I'm not going to lose. I'm not
going home a loser again.
And then you get out, and then it turns around and goes exactly like you were, you expected it to. So, you have to, just find your own rhythm, your own method, your own comfort level. And it constantly changes all the time. So you can't just say, okay, I'm comfortable at this level, and this is where I'm at, because a year from now that may change, and you have to, constantly tweak it.
Absolutely.
And, and that's what I like about, what you guys do at Stockability. It's just, you teach us how to, fish for ourselves, and let us know what to look for as far as, what's our comfort level. And of course the strategies are they're awesome, but to me, that's a smaller portion of the real education. It's like I said, you always have that 80-20 rule. I think, 20% is just the technical, learning the strategies. The 80% is just finding in your head, finding a method to make it work for you.
Yeah, and it's like training, right? I know you keep yourself fit. Yeah. I want to talk about your lifestyle as well, but I've been training for years. You keep yourself fit. That whole 80-20, it's incredible. Like 20% of it's the exercise, 80% of it's what you put in your body, you know, and how you live your life as well.
Yes.
And I find it very much the same with this as well, with the world of trading. And yes, I mean, I think that there's so many people, they have to find this way. And again, I appreciate it. Joseph's saying, Sam, great having real people on your show to share. One of the messages, and I appreciate that you appreciate that, Joseph, as well. I think the point is I want people to see that, there's really not an out-of-the-box, one-size-fits-all system for people to start making money, in trading. Because let's face it, Phil, you're an intelligent guy. I like to think I'm semi-intelligent. If it was that case, if it was as simple as that, everybody would be trading, right? Every person who'd ever turned their hand to it. Ryan Watkins, one of our lead coaches, along with Dan Bustamante, always says, yeah, you build, and knowledge is power, that old saying. Completely agree with that. But then in the world of investing and trading, you need the knowledge to empower yourself, but then you actually have to develop the skill to use that knowledge effectively. And I've tried to create an environment, Stockability is create an environment where people can literally find that rhythm and that skill. Case in point, you were in my guided trade session yesterday, and it was interesting. I had people, I got one of the guys in the room right now, Luis. Luis made money. He makes his lunch money, as he calls it. I think he made dinner money, to be honest with you, yesterday, not just lunch. But Luis got a great trade, and I got a trade on the Dow. He was short on the Russell. I was long on the Dow. Hit my first target. I brought up my stop a little bit. Didn't follow through. Came back. Stopped me out for a small loss of a couple of $100. Yet he made money. And there were other students in the room who took the same trade around the same area as me on the Dow. But because they had a different management plan, they actually made a little bit of money when I didn't. But my goals are different. I'm looking for those bigger wins, taking those wins. We were all right, but it's about coaching you to go to your comfort level. And I've seen that a lot. You've seen that a lot, right? Because I've seen that.
I mean, I actually took a loss yesterday. I was waiting for the fade gap on the RTY for the short. Yep. It didn't get that high. And then it did hit on my long fade gap, and it just buzzed right through it. So I just took my lumps and kept going. Well,
I have a whole 3 strikes and you're out rule, which I know you've adhered to as well, which is good. And then some days I think a lot of this is about knowing yourself. Today, I was just like, I got a nice trigger on it. I was looking at the Dow and I'm like, listen, I don't want to short this thing because it's horrible sometimes as an experienced trader. You have that short bias because you know everything's so expensive, but you got to let that go. And then I shorted it and I got clipped on it. Just got clipped on the entry. It was all good and it held and it broke down. And then I was like, oh man, this could be a runner. This could be great. And I was like, nope, take the smart target and turn off the computer. And then I come back a few hours later. I'm like, man, I'm glad I took that target and just kept it methodical because if I hadn't have, I'd have been stopped out, wouldn't have made any money today. And so much is just acceptance. I feel, the acceptance. Enough from me though. Let me ask you this. If you had to summarize, and I like people to be able to relate to the guests I have here on the show. If you were to summarize the biggest personal challenges you had, what were the things when you started working, with me more directly, what were the biggest things that you needed correcting in your world? And the reason I'd love you to highlight that for me, Phil, is because that's I think where most people all seem to have the same problems when it comes to this business, or there's a group. What were your biggest challenges that you had to overcome to get this rhythm that you're getting now?
Right. Well, when I came to Stockability, I spend a lot of money at other places, a whole lot of money. And I knew bits and pieces, like I said, but it was all scattered. And so one of the first challenge was coming in saying, okay, I know a little bit, Sam's going to be that, or Stockability is going to be that last piece to the puzzle.
Yeah.
And that wasn't working because I still didn't really put an entire system together. So I got to a point where I said, okay, after a couple of months, I was just, 50-50, I'll win, I'll lose, I'll win. I wasn't losing, but I wasn't really, making any money as well. So I said, okay, for 3 months, I'm just going to I'll go back to Sim and I'm going to do exactly what the curriculum states. So I went in, listened to the videos, and then when Coach Ryan came on, I did the drills for skills, and I journaled. I mean, that was the last piece, was the journaling everything.
And let's be honest, journaling's not fun, is it?
Yes, it is. It's not.
It's not.
I mean, I found a way to make it manageable. I don't know if you can see. This is my.
There you go. Let me zoom in on that. So show us that
right
again.
Here.
Show us that again, just on the full screen.
Oh, okay.
Journal there. There you go.
This is it. This is it right here. It's nothing. I had all kind
I'm
of.
proud of you, man.
Excel sheets and all that, and these fancy stuff, and I keep this right next to me every day, and I write in today's date. I write in, I generally trade the Russell. Sometimes I trade the YM, but I write, whatever I'm trading, and I start, putting in the basics. I go through the method. You guys have great GTS sessions with Coach Graham. I like the way that he methodically goes through the morning routine. So I kind of copied what he does. And, I'm looking at, the news. I'm looking at, the report to see if there are any, potential news that's going to affect the market. And then I go in, I'm looking at yesterday's highs, yesterday's lows, Globex highs, Globex lows, and then I just go through, the routine. And I did that for a month straight on Sim to the T, including the journaling, and it was like night and day.
Really? That big a difference you saw?
It was like night and day. And
were you feeling like, why didn't I do this in the first place?
Yeah, I was hard on myself. I'm really hard on myself.
Oh, I am too. I can relate to that.
Yeah, so I think we're in May right now. So I did that for February. So in March, I just started doing it live, and I had the best month ever.
Nice.
And then
And that's a
last
big.
month I had a
Can I just stop you there? That's a big deal
yeah.
as well. Like kudos to you. That's a big deal when people make that. You know, you've been live for a long time. You go back to the sim to practice, and then there's always that little thing. If you go back over to live again, and you're like, is it going to be different? Because you know you
Yeah.
have to. And I'm all for that. I'm all for practicing with people. But then a lot of people then they don't follow a rigid plan on a simulator. And then they go back to live and they think they've cracked it, but they weren't really doing anything by the book on the sim. You were doing it, you know, in that flight simulator, the real way. So then when you did it, you were just doing it exactly the same in the live, right? Because that takes,
Yeah.
that's discipline. Because a lot of people wobble, don't they, Phil, when they go over to the
Yeah,
live
they
again.
do. And I've done it a bunch. And, I'll do it for a couple of days and okay, I'm ready. And then I'll go back to what I was doing before. So, and I took baby steps. I went from sim and then I went to the macros, and then I went, to regular contracts or depending on the size of my zones. It depends. It's dependent on what I'm actually trading. But yeah, I would say, so just following the steps. I mean, that is, it seems easy, but it's hard to do because, we all get in our own way. And I have to fight myself now. Like yesterday, I'm proud of myself today. It was because I took a loss and I stopped. And normally I would take a loss. And it's like, okay, I can get this back. I can get this.
Oh, that voice. I can get it back.
Yeah, exactly. And it's still there. It's never going to leave.
You just got to not listen to it. You got to shut it down.
Yes.
Right? Because it's always there, isn't it? Because none of us want to go home down. And it could be something like Penny's like, oh, I'm $50 down. You know, when your average trades are like $900 and you're all annoyed and frustrated because you're down $50, even $100. It's incredible how it gets there because I've said this before. We've not been programmed to be losers. We've been programmed to be winners since we were little, right? Do good, do good.
Yeah. And another thing, it goes the other way too, because you can, let's say if you're, trying to make $1,000 a day and you get to 980. And it's like, man, $20 off. Let me just do it real quick. Yeah, exactly.
I'll go back in and get it, and then I give it.
Yeah, you try to go back in and get it, and then you lose another $100. Now you're at $800 versus $900.
Right.
And I've done that before, so I have to. And it's about knowing yourself. So it's really, about knowing yourself and accepting who you are. And if for me, I know I'm a real competitive person. So if I'm not at my goal, I'm going to try to get it versus, but now I have to say, okay, I'm going to get it, but it's going to be tomorrow, the next trading day. It's not going to be that same day. I'm done for the day because I've done everything what I was supposed to do. And this is what the market has provided me today.
And that's what you have to accept. I was on one of my good buddy Merlin's show, Merlin Rothfeld, his show a couple of weeks ago, and I had a rough week. I hit my loss limit, which I don't very often hit anymore, but I did, and I was feeling a bit annoyed about it all. And then, I was, up a bit, down a bit for a couple of days after an incredible run, like one of the best runs I've ever had in my whole time trading.
Right.
And then, I just came into it this week, and then it was an okay day on Monday, and then like Tuesday, I had just like a stellar day. I mean, it was just one trade and just nailed it from high to low, and it was incredible. That one trade just made back all the frustrations and little bits, put me ahead of the game again. And it's like, that's where you have to be. So, and the setup was no different to other setups. In fact, if I look back on it, and again, I still journal a little bit, I was like, yeah, there are a couple of times I cut the corner because then that's the other thing, a bit of advice I'd give to you as well right now is, the biggest challenge that I've found people have is once they do get into a rhythm, then they get a little more comfortable about it and they're like, oh yeah, I got it now. Don't ever make that assumption. Ever. Treat yourself like an elementary, child all the time. Be elementary constantly with yourself because it's incredible and easy it is then to waver, isn't it? And then, and then get cocky with yourself.
At your event, what was the last week, and you had, I think it was Don on, and he was saying how, he takes money out and pays himself. Yeah. So I started to implement that because, you get comfortable. It's like, oh, you're up a certain amount of money and you don't take it out. So then you started going outside your normal routine, and that's where you get burned.
Yeah, that's it. Guys, if you've just joined us on the show, I'm joined today by Phil Jackson here. And you're in California, aren't you? Where in California are you, by the way? Just wanted to...
I'm in the Bay Area.
In the Bay Area, one of my favorite parts of the world. Lovely. Love it there as well. He's in the Bay Area, and we're just talking about, the reality of it. One of the things we pride ourselves here on Take Stock Live is real people, real experiences, It ain't... There's a lot of wonderful things about this, but it's all about reality, grounded in reality of what it is. Not this ideal view of how trading should be, but rather how trading is. Okay, and that's one of the things I loved it. We were chatting on the phone a couple of days ago, Phil, and you just said to me, I certainly learned how to trade with other places, but I then learned how to be an actual trader with you. And I think it's the thing,
Yes.
it isn't pretty, is it? Sometimes it's pretty ugly. You scrap, you get in, you get, and other days it all goes beautifully. And, but that's the day. I say to people, why do you have this idealized view of what trading is? Because, you can have the greatest job in the world, a job that you love, a business that's highly successful, but don't tell me you're not going to get crappy days.
Yes.
And not every day is a cakewalk, is it? In any job, you can love your job.
No,
You could be a
not at all.
teacher who
Not at
loves
all.
being a teacher with his kids. And one day the kids are just, man, they're off. They're on too much sugar. They're
Yep.
running around like crazy. They're driving you nuts. That's the reality of it, isn't it, really? And I think you have to accept that, wouldn't you say?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It's I mean, you mentioned that because I forget what day it was, but it was the day that Biden made the announcement on his new his tax plan,
Yes.
and the market just turned around and took a tank.
Oh, on the capital
And
gains tax hikes.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
like,
capital
woo,
gains tax
that's going to
thing.
sting.
And I was actually in a trade. I was in a short on the RTY,
Yeah.
and I was literally about to get stopped out. I mean, I had already put it in my book that okay, this is done.
You'd written that
I
one off
mean,
already.
by one tick. I mean, literally by
Is there,
one tick.
that's how,
And when the market turned after from that announcement, it turned around and it just took off. And it got to a point where it was getting towards my target. It hit my T1 and it was going toward my T2. And I said, well, if it breaks a certain level, it's going to run down even further. So I actually moved the target
thought, why not?
further down.
Well, Lady
Yeah,
Luck was on your side, it seems, that day.
exactly. I mean, literally, I was in the right place at the right time. If I hadn't been there, it just would have, hit my two targets. But I mean, one tick away from being stopped out.
Wow.
I mean, and then so it went from losing $200 to close to a $3,600 gain for that
Beautiful.
day.
Beautiful.
And but those things happen. It can happen the other way too. I mean, you can
Yes,
be
it
one tick away from hitting your target, and it can turn around and stop you out. I mean, those things happen.
Yeah.
But the zone wasn't really pretty. I mean, it was an ugly zone. I wasn't like, okay, this is going to be a big day. I'm just looking to, make my little, my daily goal. And I was about to, again, like I said, I was about to get stopped out. No expectation, and it just took off. And
You
like I
never
said,
know.
it wasn't a picture perfect zone. It was a pretty ugly zone. It
Yeah.
just was in the right location.
I've always said that,
But
the Bay Area, what house prices are like around there, and you're a man who understood that. You can get a rundown
Yes.
piece of real estate in the Bay Area. It may be an ugly house, but it's a great location. So
absolutely.
it's all about location. All about location.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
interesting that you said that. You get all these people who get so paranoid, Phil, about the market, the big boys. The big boys are out to hit your trade. They're out to get you. They're out to run your stops. Yeah, well, I've had that one or two ticks away, and it's turned, and sometimes it does stop you out, and then it goes without you. There, you came one tick away, and it kept you in, and it did go. You just have to stick to the plan because you said it. Don't have any expectations. Nobody really
Yes.
knows, do they? And I
Yeah.
think you have to have that
Yes.
balance of, throw caution to the wind. I know I'm being smart about it. I know I've got my plan and so on as well, and go from there. That's a great story, man. I absolutely love that. Question just come in from you from Joseph Solana saying, Phil, what do you trade, these days? And let's talk a little bit about, your trading routine. You talked about the routine, but let's talk about the times of day that you tend to trade. Do you have like specific goals and what you trade as well? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. Right now, I'm just trading the RTY, the Russell 2000, and the Dow, the YM. And I've even gone to an extent where I don't even chart the the Nasdaq or the S&P. I look at it and I may chart the monthly or the daily charts, but I don't chart the smaller ones anymore because I don't want to get tempted to say, hey, this is a great deal. Let me jump in and make some money for the day. So I just stick with those two, and eventually I will start expanding that. And what it does, it gives me an understanding on how the market moves, especially with the Russell. I'm really comfortable with the Russell. I know where my profit levels are at off the top of my head. I pretty much know where it's trading even without looking at the charts. That's how much I look at it.
That's awesome.
And so yeah, those are and what was the last part of his question?
And
Hopefully
also, I was going to say, well, that's great. So there we go. We've got the Russell and the Dow, and I know probably a little bit more on the Russell. And I'd say to you, yeah, look at other markets for your day trading. But any advice that I'd give to anybody is if you start to get consistency on just trading one or two things for your daily trade, bread and butter stuff, just stick to it forever. That's it. And then you can branch out, on individual stocks and ETFs and all that good stuff for your longer term trading, which I know you also do. You've got your options and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think people make a mistake of looking at too much on a short-term time frame as well. So I'm the same as you. I'm a big, Dow Jones guy. I trade a Russell a lot. Those are really two of my weapons. That NASDAQ, Phil, over the years, I traded it for years, but we call it the honey badger, or should I say Coach Graham?
Yep.
God, it can be kind, but it seems to be, I'd say, mean more than kind at the moment. It's whippy. You can't be trading that with that. It's a tough market to trade, and I don't like too much volatility. I like somewhere in between. The other question was, let's talk about your day. When does your day begin and when does your day end? Because the subject of today's show is, fitting trading into your lifestyle, right? And I know that you're big on that and you're an active guy. You do a lot of other things. So when do you typically turn on? When do you turn off? Do you have a daily goal? And then what else do you do? Because it seems like while you've put all this time in, the goal was that you put the time in now so you don't have to spend too much time on it every day and you can live your life.
Absolutely.
Tell us about that.
Well, I'm a licensed residential real estate appraiser. I've been doing that for over 30 years, and that's my business. So that keeps me busy as well.
I can imagine.
I'm on the West Coast. I get up early. I'm an early riser. I get up about 4 a.m. And I'm into, and you'll love this. I'll do some stretching, some light yoga.
Yeah, nice.
And meditation. I do that for about an hour.
Great.
And so I do that for about.
Every day you're doing that now? Every day?
Monday through Saturday. Sunday I kind of take it off to give my body a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
But during the week when the markets are open, I'm up at 4. So from 4 to 5, I'm doing I call it my me time.
Yeah.
And so at 5 o'clock, I get my tea and my water and just kind of get my workstation set up. And about 5:15, that's when I start my routine, looking at the markets. I'm looking at the news. I'm looking at I'm looking at my charts. I'm journaling. I'm looking at the CMDC. I mean, you turned us on with that, and so once that happens, it's generally I start looking at my levels and which way I'm thinking what's happening with the market. After that, it's time for the morning GTS, and so I'm on there, and after that I'm trading. So from about 6 a.m. to 8, sometimes 9, I'm trading. Beautiful. That's basically what I'm doing. 9 o'clock, I kind of wrap up the day. I journal, kind of debrief what happened, what I did right, what I did wrong, and about 9:30, I'm doing some sort of workout, my regular workout. I do yoga, Bikram yoga, which is a hot 90-minute yoga.
Nice.
Do that twice a week.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm a runner. I generally run twice a week, and then that 5th day, I kind of leave that open. So I'm either lifting weights or hiking or whatever. My wife loves to hike, so we generally will do. We're a part of a hiking group on the weekend, so we go to different places throughout the Bay Area. And matter of fact, we're end of June we're going to Yosemite to do Half Dome. If you haven't heard of that, that's one of the biggest.
Yes, it is.
Mountains in the world. So we're kind of training for that. Wow. I bike ride. So anyway, back during the week, after I finish working out, then I start doing my appraisal work. So I usually do that in the afternoons from about 12 o'clock till 4 or 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, I kind of wind down, relax with the family till about 8. And then from 8 to about 9, I'm kind of getting everything ready for the next day. And 9 o'clock, generally between 9 and 9:30, I'm in the bed.
Yeah. Do you go out like a light? I can imagine with a schedule like that.
Oh yeah, I'm out.
Nice,
I am out.
Nice.
So yeah, that works.
That's it. It's all about just doing it, because people are like, "Oh man, that's an early start." But if you're going to bed at the right time as well, that's good. And just everybody
Yeah.
knows, like, Phil's on the West Coast as well, so the market's open at 6:30 there.
And I wake up without an alarm clock.
That's
No alarm
beautiful.
clock.
You've got
I
that
just wake.
You've got that train. I'd like to say that's normally the case, but right now I've got a little boy who's been an amazing
Yes,
sleeper.
I've been there.
Been an amazing sleeper for 3.5. He's 3.5. He's the best sleeper ever, but he's going through a little phase where he's not doing so good. And oh my gosh, it's like the newborn days again. But still having that routine is so good. What I love so much about what you're telling me though is, you're fitting the trading into your life, and
Yes.
you're starting around 5:15, 5:30. You're done by 9. That's it. You get in, you make money, and then you have life for other things. And I think that's so good to have a distraction, because what you don't want is those days where you still got the trade on and you're trying to focus on other things and you keep checking your phone. How's it going? That to me is just not healthy. And it's funny, and again, it's all about how you function, because to me, I would rather take a decent profit, be shut down for the day, know where I stand, and move on, rather than just keep, if I happen to be there, great, but just keep trying to grind it out. I mean, each to their own. But for me, I like to compartmentalize it. And it seems to me you're a little bit the same as well. That was always my vision, really, Phil, just doing it that way. Because there are opportunities that happen in that set, first hour of the day. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, yeah. The first hour of the day, and every now and then, I usually after I finish working out and running some errands, around 12 o'clock, I'll look again, because the end of the day, there's a lot, that can happen as well. I'm not really placing any trades, so I'm just kind of watching, especially if I have something, the RTY sometimes can be slow moving, and sometimes it takes all day, to hit your targets. So I'll come back and check on it from time to time, but I don't even have the charts or anything on my phone. So when I'm out, I'm out.
I love it. Switched off. Unplugged,
yeah, everything's switched off. I mean, the only way I can find out if I turn on the CMDC BC and listen to the news or something to see where it's at. But that's really it. And it's hard for me, because I'm kind of a control freak, and I want to see everything move.
I think all traders are.
Yeah,
that's why we do it. I think all traders have got that control freak nature in them, because that's just...
Yeah, so I have to put things in place to protect me from myself.
We all do.
Yes.
I love it. Can I just say, I've been so excited. I've been wanting you to come on the show as I've been getting to know you for so long, because I personally can say this. I'm so happy to see the progress that you're making. Selfishly, the progress that you're making right now makes me wait and go, yeah, I did the right thing, starting this company, doing everything I'm doing. So, and I say selfishly because, it's great to see people having success. So, and I love it. But on that, I always say this, and we just had Bob Pellegrin on here, who I think you might have just seen, we just awarded our very first Student of the Month award to, for literally commitment to his trading and everything.
Oh, well deserved. I see Bob in the chat room. And
he's like the life and soul, isn't he, of
yes,
Stockability's family and community. It's just great to see commitment like that, and I know what it takes. And so while it makes my heart swell to see, you're getting and hitting your goals and on your journey, it makes me even happy to see that, hey man, people are putting the work in, because too many people come at this and they want to just be spoon-fed. They want to be told what to do, and that's it, and they don't get it. And I'd say to anybody right now, and I'd love to get your final thoughts on it before we go and look at the market together. I think too many people think they're going to show up, okay, listen, take notes, apply, and that's it. And I'm sorry, that's not the reality of it. There's no point in showing up to class, That's like saying why it all happens. Most of the hard work happens in any educational environment with the work that you do after the lecture, after the class, right?
That's right.
And I think that, and it isn't. You got to put that bit of work in. But I feel that if you put the work in now, it gets easier and easier and easier. Almost becomes boring. I guess that's my final question to you in this subject: is it beginning to maybe get a little bit boring, as in the routine of what you do?
From that standpoint, yes, because it's the same thing over and over. But I still see different things, and I'm still building my overall strategy.
Yeah.
For right now, this is just my income, and one of the problems I was having was my targets. It's okay, my targets were too aggressive, or sometimes they were too lofty, and the trade would work, but it just wasn't gonna I wasn't hitting my target. So you had mentioned, hey, let me, this is, day trading, get in, get out, make your money, move on. So that's what I started doing. And I started making these different accounts. So I have my income account, and that's it. I mean, I have a certain dollar amount goal, and it hits. So if for some reason the price just runs forever and ever, it doesn't matter, because the that account was not even set up for that. It was
Right.
set up for consistent income. And that's what you guys teach. And, I have to tell you, Sam, it's, stockability is, um, it's been a life changer, because, you guys teach people how to become traders, and you see it everywhere as far as how stockability is set up from the instructors. I mean, you, Ryan, Dan, Graham, you guys all have different styles, but they mesh together.
Mm.
And that last piece, for me with Dan, because he traded a little differently or he trades a little differently than what I've been used to seeing. And it's like, well, I don't really see how that fits. Now I do. So I look forward to Dan at the beginning of the week, because he's a freaking genius in regards to the market.
He really is.
And my head is always spinning when he talks, but I get so many nuggets, and I get different nuggets from all of you guys that kind of puts everything together. And then the community in that Slack room, I've never been in a trading community where, you got everyone's on the same page, because everyone's doing the same thing in regards to the overall strategy. But everyone's cheering for each other. I mean, the other places I was at, you had people thinking like, oh, okay, well, I know how to create a level, or, everything had to be perfect, and, people want to be put on a pedestal.
Right.
In here, it's like, everyone, for me, it's just a real family community. I mean, if I'm struggling or I see someone else struggling, no one hesitates to, throw that in the chat. And there's no judgment. It's all like encouragement and support.
That's
And with
exactly
that, I mean, it's hard not to be successful when you have a support system like that.
Well, you in turn also are part of that support system as new students are coming into the community as well. So thank you for that as well, and the part that you play in it. And I always say that to every single student who's active in the community. You guys make that community. You make Stockability what it is. We hopefully are just that little bit of magnetism or glue that's brought it all together.
Yeah, I mean, it's great, because like you said, you got the other students, you got Gio. I mean, I look up to Gio and Don. I mean, I want to be like those guys, because those guys are doing well, and it's just, everyone's just pulling everyone up, and everyone's at different levels.
Yeah.
I still have a long way to go.
Me too, my friend. Me too.
Yeah,
I tell you, me too. And that's the attitude. That's the attitude you need, I think, in this business to stay grounded and stay humble and stay on track. So, awesome, man. Thank you for sharing. I love it. Well, listen, I'd love to get your analysis as well. Let's put some of that together. It wouldn't be a Take Stock Live without your call, my put. I always love to give my guests the choice of what they are. Are you bullish with a your call, or are you bearish with a my put today, Phil? And we'll take a look at those charts together.
I'm going to go with the bull.
You are going to go with the bull, my friend. What are we looking at, my friend? What are we looking at today?
The ETF Jets.
ETF
Airlines.
Jets. All right, let's
covered
bring
the
it
airlines
up.
there.
Let's get over to there, and hopefully you can see us. I'll zoom in for you. This is a daily chart of Jets. Tell us about Jets, Phil. If anybody doesn't know what this is, ticker symbol is JETS. I'll zoom in for you guys so you can see that. There it is, Jets, ETF Series Solutions, USGLB Jets ETF. Tell us a little bit about that one, Phil.
It's an ETF, and it covers most of the airlines. And for me, it's like I can't afford to buy individual stocks for all the airlines. So this is a good way of doing it.
Love that. I love that. Now,
yes.
It's interesting you're saying you're cool. So slightly bullish on this. Like, to me, I got to just say, I'm going to say it before we do any analysis on this. I got to agree with you. I feel that the whole entertainment, airline, restaurants business is in for a bit of a boom, because I don't know about you, but people are just desperate to get out there, man.
Oh, absolutely.
How can it not be? How can it not be?
Absolutely. I had to help my my daughter move to Miami a couple of weeks ago, and it just so happens to be the same time as spring break.
Oh yeah,
And you would have never known we were
in
in
the
a
pandemic.
shutdown pandemic. I tell you, I mean, it was hard getting flights. It was hard getting rental cars. It was just, I mean, it was like, what is this? It's like, so yeah. So, um, there's on a daily level, I think, and around the $21 area, there may be one of my favorite possible setups.
Oh yeah,
There.
let's take a look at this then, shall we? So around, you're saying
So
around the $21 area as well. So around here, you're
yeah, it
saying?
should be a little doji down there, which is
Yep, yep,
had that little
around here.
fake
Oh, actually,
out.
maybe even lower. Are you talking about way down here as well with this unfilled
Yeah, right
area?
there.
Oh,
Yep,
right. So we're looking
yep.
even low. You are a man after my own heart. Let's zoom over here. So we've got about $18 actually. So just under that mark. An unfilled gap. That's one of those fade gaps, I think. And I know you like those, my friend.
Yes.
It's a long way off. It's a long way off.
Yes,
but in
it is.
this
It
case
is.
on here as well, I kind of like that. Now, is that how patient you've become on this as well right now? That if you get this, because again, I do see a little bit of weakness in the market right now. We've got a little bit of a head and shoulders going on. You can see on here, which would take that down a little bit. But when I see these unfilled gaps, I lick my lips at those ones. I know you've started to like those as well, right?
Yes.
You're interested
yes.
in that particular price point as well. You like it down that as well. So if we go and take a look at it on here, that makes a lot of sense to me because this is the weekly chart that we've seen, and we've been in a
Okay.
massive upward trend on here. To me, this definitely needs a pullback, and I think the area that you're in question, you can actually see it quite clearly, just around that $18 mark. How's that look for you? Looking good?
Yes. Yep. That's right there. I got that
Short-term
marked
play,
off.
short-term play, long-term play. How would you act this one? Because, I mean, I like the price on it. Now, normally on a lot of the FANG stocks and the big stocks that we trade, we do directional options on them. I think at that price, this might be actually a nice, cold, hard cash investment. That's just my thinking on it. What about yourself, Phil?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. That's
Yep.
what I'm looking at.
Look-
Long-term play.
Yeah.
I mean, I may take a little on the short term, like you said, because you got that double top, and you can maybe buy a few puts to ride that thing down a little bit.
Yeah.
But overall, it is really for the long term.
Absolutely. I really like it. And it's been higher. If we zoom back out and take a look at this, we've had highs on here. I'll just clean up my charts, take this out to a monthly chart. All-time highs are $34.
Yeah.
And what I like about it is this. I'd say, you've got two major areas. I'm going to say, look, I am 100% all over that area. I'm going to be sniffing around this $22 mark as well. I got to say, and this is something I might dip my toe in the water with as well. That we've got it too. Overall, I completely agree with you. I'm all about upside potential on this. To me, you've got like a more aggressive entry here, another one, and this is your one on here. You know me, I can be a bit aggressive on this, but I
have that area marked as well. It's just that I would like to have seen that when it popped up from that level originally, or when it created.
Yep.
To get a little bit higher. It didn't get high enough for me.
Yes. Well, if it does, we could even get this and it comes back then again. But look, I totally agree with the analysis. I'm almost of this, being where it is. One of my things is like I'd maybe buy the calls, the option calls at this one, and actually do the outright stock down at here.
Yes,
we could try both of those as well.
That's
but
a good idea.
I like them both. And I think that's a great long-term play. And for me, that is a long-term play. Absolutely. And for anybody on the show, it's like, looking at the price of Boeing and American Airlines and all that, that's your way forward, I think. That great ETF, I think, for us all. Now, you did actually say to me, so thank you for that one. You did actually say to me, so you did have something you were bearish on too before I share mine as well. We got time. You want to tell us what you were a little bit more bearish on too?
Well, it's almost the same thing, but Exxon.
Okay.
Exxon Mobil.
Okay. All right. So there's two X's on there, isn't it? So there he is. XOM is the ticker.
XOM, yeah.
There you go. Oh, yeah. Look, that's been down in the dumps on here for a while. Now, this is the monthly chart. Let's go take a look at it. I think the weekly gets it. Oh, coming into this daily area that I'm seeing right now, that's going to be a little bit of a test for it, I feel, at this particular point. Okay, around this area here. What did you have in mind, Phil? What time frame would you like to look at, sir?
We can stay there.
Yeah.
It's really a
I'll show you.
Overall, I'm still bullish on, but this is more of a short term because it is hitting that daily support.
There you go. You can see it right
should dip down to one of my buying levels.
Okay. Yeah.
On the monthly and the weeklies. think it's around that 59, $60
Yeah, right
mark.
around here. Another one of those. So you're looking at this
Yep.
as a short-term play, though, on this one. Yeah, right around this 59 area. Another one of those fade gaps for you.
Yeah.
So looking for a pullback to around this area here, would you say?
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What targets were on here? Because I got to say, what just concerns me about this is all of this to the left-hand side that we've got on here. A little bit of a short-term play, or you think we got maybe a little bit more upside on this?
I think eventually it's going to get through it.
Yeah.
I think eventually it'll get through it. I mean, ideally, like I said, it'll pop up there and then it comes right back down to it. The other good thing about Exxon is they can, on a consistent basis,
Yep.
their dividend percent is pretty high.
Right.
It's usually around, I think it's around 4 or 5%.
Nice. And what I'm looking at on here as well is, I'm seeing here, there is room to go. I don't see any real selling pressure on the larger time frame up until about $70 on there as well. That's going to be a big test for it. That's the $70 mark. That is a monthly chart that we're looking at there as well. So nice. 2 for the price of 1 we got on there as well.
Yep, there you go.
So we've got Jets as a long-term buy, and I've got a short-term buying opportunity on ExxonMobil as well. Love to get your opinion on this. One of the active stocks that we look at before we wrap up today, I always get the put. Like Sam always seems to get the put. I always get the bearish trade, but I got to say right now, we were looking at this just yesterday, and I got an eye on it. Roku, I'm like, ooh, this has got more downside on it. Like, we just broke key levels. I want to expand this chart here on Roku, which is trading right now at $281. Taking a look at Roku on here, let's just go and zoom this in a little bit so you can see. These were 2 levels that we were playing. So these areas here, we have let's just write on here. We have a resistance zone. I'm going to call that RZ, and we have a support zone that we have here. This play from here to here, we actually played a couple of weeks ago.
Nice.
Buying our calls in the GTS and selling those calls here. So we had a nice play. That was 375 on, but literally after hitting that, we had this resistance zone marked off, anticipating this drop. I got to say, even it took me a little bit by surprise on here. A real test I'm seeing on here is just down a little bit lower, but I got to be honest on this. At the moment, I see more downside on this when I look at it. I really do. Whatever way you want to look at this is in a downtrend, this market. And
absolutely.
And now we've just broken out, of some. This has really got me. I'm going to go out there. I wouldn't be even interested in this thing. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go out on a limb here. You know me. I'll happily make a call. I see maybe a potential short-term bounce around this area here that we've got, which is, let's just look, a short-term bounce maybe around the 268 area. But I'm going to go on a limb. Phil, I like this down more around 205. Let me zoom in on here. I like this down at 205. I'm not really thinking about a buy on that until around the 200, 205 area. And I'm prepared that if we can take out this low here cleanly going into next week, I reckon we got about maybe $60 to $70 worth of downside potential on that thing. I'm going to look to take that lower. That's just my opinion on it. That's all I can see.
Now, will you take it right at that break, or would you
I want to see a break of this.
Pull back up a little bit?
I'd like to see a break, either one or two things. A break of this low if we get it. A break of this low if we can get it. Or I'd like to see a put. And there's a beautiful area right around here where we've got this. Let me go zoom in on here for you. But we got a real nice area. I'm going to have to just kind of take this off here and move this. So let me just do this for a second for everybody so you can see it. Do my zoom so you can all see it. Here we go, look. There you go, moving down. There's a little cluster of trading that I like real here. So if I go and edit this, let's go and activate the drawing, move this over. But there's a whole cluster. And what I love about options is we don't have to
read my mind. That's the area I was looking at.
Yeah, and with options, we don't have to be too crazy about it. But this 330 area, if we get a little bit of a pullback into that, I'd love to take a short. I'm just not sure if we're going to get it. We've already taken out this area here. So depending on how we trade, and if we're staying below this week's lows going into next week, I'm probably just going to take it. I'm going to buy those puts and try and ride that thing down with a tight stop. That's what I love about options. That's what I love so much about options is you don't have to be deadly accurate. Don't you think that's great about options? You can kind of get late to the party.
Absolutely. So I already have marked off on my my personal calendar later on this year. The focus will be, on the options.
Yeah, and we had earnings out as well, which is done on Roku as well. So we're safe on that for the next 3 months too. I'm ready to go with it. It's definitely on my downside as well. So Roku's my one. that I'm making that call on as well. Last week, just if you're interested, I know some of you, we were looking at our calls and puts. Last week, Apple was on my radar. Last week on the long side of things, and it still is as well. I was actually saying the 128 to 130 kind of area was where it was. This previous area here that we had just yesterday, we got in on that as well. So right now as well, key area. Let me just go and blow up the charts. You can see I've got alerts on here at the moment. But this whole 128 area, 130, 128 was the big one here for me. So at the moment, still remaining bullish on Apple, looking for a target of around 130, 200. That was one of last week's calls after we had earnings, blowout earnings again. And once again, Apple fell off the edge of a cliff. Doesn't it always happen? When are people going to learn, Phil, that when good earnings on Apple happen, it always seems to sell off? It's like all the smart money takes their profit. And look where earnings happen. Look right around here. Earnings came out right around this particular point here. High on the thing. Now everybody gets stammered. Here we go. I'm expecting the next leg up. I'm sorry. I love Apple as a long-term investment. I always want that thing in my portfolio. But the way I play it right now is using the options on it. You an Apple fan, Phil, or not?
Yeah, I'm a big Apple fan, but it's just it's like you said, it's like, where do you begin with that? Because it's so expensive and it's always going up. And when you think it's at a level where, okay, it can't go any further, it just keeps going again.
I love the options on it, though. I love the options on it because the premiums are so fair. The volatility is not crazy on it. You know, you don't get a high amount, like, you know, that Vega, like, is quite contained in it. I love it. Like I say, I'm going to go into it. And I've got some nice calls on this. I've got plenty of time value on it. The other one I was looking at, I'm bullish on it. The other one has just been really disappointing for me. And again, why I just try to avoid. And if you've got a few more minutes, I'd love to run this by you, Phil. But
take your time.
Why I get people say they get so caught up in earnings, you know, and how like that should affect the market and should go. Great example of just getting smashed on that is we just recently had great earnings. Let's just actually pull these up. Great earnings on Netflix. And since that, the thing has done nothing. I mean, it is absolutely done nothing. Here it is. That's what I love about this platform. Just so you guys can see, earnings on here up 370. Earnings were up to 375 on this thing. 375. Earnings the previous quarter at 119. Now 375. And what's the market done? Just sunk. Fell off the edge of a cliff as well. I was expecting this $500 mark to hold here on this market. I was really expecting it to hold. It hasn't done that. I ended up taking it, and I was bullish on Netflix last week. I still remain, how can I put it, cautiously bullish. You know, to me, we are at the bottom of a range, but I would just say looking at this whole area as the range right now, I can't get excited. I know we've broken that $500 mark, but for me, this just looks like it wants to just sniff a little bit lower, and then it's going to really take everybody out again on here. Still on my watches. Have you done any trades on Netflix as of late? Another one you watch or not? Do you stay away from it?
Actually, I have a long-term play.
Yep.
I forgot what I mean. It's been like
that so long.
About a year and a half, 2 years ago. I mean, I don't look at it every day. I mean, I probably look at it once a quarter.
And that's how it should be. That's how it should be, right?
Yeah, because I when people mention it on the news, I kind of perk up and kind of listen. Yeah. But I just don't look at it. I just bought a few shares, and
he owns it at $10, ladies and gentlemen. So that's why he's not too concerned.
I know.
But, it is. I still it's in a range. I'm not getting excited about it. This. To me, looks like a typical kind of probe, and you got to be careful. Coach Graham and I were both getting options on this last week. It didn't go anywhere. Rather than the time decay here, it's just pulled the plug on it, moved my money into something else. Right now, though, Roku on the downsides on the watch. Still bullish on Apple, and we've also got your bullish plays there. Short-term bullish plays on Jets for sure. A long-term play on Jets. Absolutely on that as well, because I think that's a great addition to the portfolio as well. It's a mixed market. One final question for you. Let's go back over to, and I always like to just return it to the S&P. In fact, let's just go look at the SPY, which is the ETF of this, which is the one. Are you still bullish long term? How you feel? Because if anything like any other professional trader I know, man, I hate how high this market is, but I keep saying it is what it is. What are your final thoughts on this, Phil?
It's kind of like you say, I've been just following the charts and trying to keep my opinion out of it.
Yep.
Because my opinion is is high enough and it's going to turn.
Yep.
But the charts say otherwise.
Yep.
I mean, it's still going. And I mean, yeah, we're going to get pullbacks. And, but I think it's still going to go up. It's still going up.
And
I mean,
it's nothing stopping. It's the weekly chart, guys. Just look at it. I keep saying it every week. Yes, Sam will always give you his opinion. I'm still bullish on the market. We had Brian on the show a couple of weeks ago, and we saw a 300-point sell-off in 20 minutes. And I said, great buying opportunity. And what did it do? Brand new highs again. Guys, I'm not seeing any reason. Phil's not seeing any reason. Stockability coaches aren't seeing any reason. My students aren't seeing any reason why it's going to sell off. It will happen when it's going to happen. Is it going to carry on like this forever? No, but just be cautious about where you buy the pullbacks, and be smart at what you do. And I love a range in markets. A day trader, who really cares, right? When you're a day trader, there's always going to be opportunity out there. So that's the most important thing as well. I wanted to get your opinion on that, Phil, because, yeah, literally, I just think people are... there's a lot of people out there now bearish on the market. They really wanting to see it go down. But I stop trying to be the hero and call the top. Stop trying to be the hero. Just buy the pullback. Coach Ryan says that a lot, right? Just buy the pullback.
Yeah. And it took a while to get comfortable with that, because it's like, wow, I'm buying so high on the market.
Dude, I'm not comfortable on it ever, but I just do it.
It's just there. And even on, I'm starting to do on my long-term plays, or, on the pullbacks, I'll either, buy the puts or just outright short. To the pullbacks, and then I'll, buy again. So I'll make a little bit of money on the ride down, and then I take those profits, and then at the buy areas, I'll buy some more.
Nice. That's the perfect
just
way
to accumulate more equity.
Perfect way of doing it, my friend.
Yep.
Phil, can I extend a huge thank you for taking the time to come on the show with me? We overrun as normal. You know me. You've been a long enough viewer of the show. I always end up... I always think, man, I hope I can keep going. And then here we go. We get into great conversation, worthwhile conversation. I know the viewers of the show appreciate you. I appreciate you from the bottom of the heart. Our community appreciates you as well. I'd love to have you back on the show again in time as well. And can I just say again how sincerely happy I am to see the success, and long may it continue that you're having in your trading and investing. Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll have you back on the show real soon, all right? Thank you so much, my friend.
All right, you take care now.
Much love to you and the family. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Phil Jackson out in the Bay Area here, just joining me on the show. And I love that. I love having real people, real students coming on here, seeing what it's all about, giving you their experiences, and just, showing you what really we get up to and what we do. Okay, this is it. This is our blood. This is our life. This is what we do. And if you are experienced and want to be a part of this and learn more about it and don't know where to begin, let me help you out with that as well. Guys, go to stockability.com. Here's our website. Here it is at stockability.com. I'll zoom in so you can see that right at the top here. Check everything out. We got a ton of free resources for you to look at. You can check out resources. You can go into our FAQs, articles from all of our coaches, plenty of examples of what we do, testimonials, the whole thing. And if you're really ready to begin and look at this, or just want to get in and find out a little bit more about what we do, what is the best thing for you to do? Go and scroll to the bottom, and then you can go down here and you'll see a number of complimentary webinars. We have one actually next week, Tuesday, May 11th, right here at 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. London time. Complimentary webinar with Coach Ryan, Investing, Can You Afford to Retire? And then Tuesday, what do we got here? 23rd of May, 25th of May, should I say, with a brand new instructor coming at Stockability on here, a complimentary webinar, a focus on Forex, and then on 8th of June with myself, Can You Afford to Retire, coming back on here again. Also, you can go and look at our on-demand webinars, and if you're really just completely new to this and just want to say, hey, I want to learn more, and I want to learn with somebody, best place for you to go is to our programs here and go over to our trading investing orientation. Check it out. It is a program that we have on here that is a self-paced program of about 15 hours of material working with our student consultants to help you form a blueprint for your trading and investing as well. Go check out the trading and investing orientation. It's right there for you to take a little look at as well. Scrolling in trading investing orientation right at the top of the page, and now I'll show you a little bit more. Go click on that as well, and you can check on that page. Little introduction from myself and all of the curriculum on there as well, so you can find out exactly where to begin. Plenty for you at Stockability to help you on this particular journey. Wow, That's been a long show, but a great show. Thank you so much, everybody, for your input. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for all of our regular viewers as well, and everybody who takes the time out of their busy schedule. Every week we are here on a Thursday, and we are live. We are live here every single week, doing this week in, week out. Occasionally, maybe have to change the times or the days, but we will be here at least once a week with myself or with one of my guests as well. We are broadcasting at noon on Facebook Live. You can also see all the recordings of the previous shows here on the Facebook Live page. And on top of that, if you go and check out the Stockability YouTube channel, you can actually see recently a 6-hour, yes, I'll say it again, a 6-hour recorded one-day event on increasing your trading and investing performance with all of the coaches at Stockability and a number of great special guests as well. Go check that out on the Stockability YouTube page. It's all complimentary. Go see what we're all about. Look at previous shows. And if you want to talk more and take your education and your investing and trading to the next level, you know where to find us. Guys, my name is Sam Evans. This has been Take Stock Live. It's been powered by Stockability.com. Have an incredible rest of your week. Have a restful weekend. And I'll see you here next week at exactly the same time. God bless all of you. Thank you.